Hey everyone, this is Relics,
And I'm Nagatron.
and we are watching Relic Armored Law's Wanderers versus Panzac's Abusement Park in round 2 of World of Tanks Classic League Season 1 on the map Karelia. Let's get it going. Alright, starting off looking at Relic's tanks here, we got two 50Bs, two T110s, a 704, a T30, two T54s for medium tanks, and two M4043s. So they're going for a pretty light setup there. But a lot of speed and a lot of good damage.
Looks like they intend on rushing both of those 50Bs and the 54 to the hill at H7 there, just to make sure they get an early grasp on it. In the meantime, Panzacs is running 6 Tier 10s, an E100, 2 IS7s, a mouse, 2 T110s, 1 T54, and 2 Tier 8 artillery, which means that they're actually 5 points short.
You know, I'd been looking at some earlier matches there, and it seems like a lot of teams are missing their T50-2s for scouts.
There is no actual player limit, so it doesn't have to be a 50-2, although it is the most common sight for a Tier 5. You could bring 3, 4 T1 Cunninghams, you could pack in pretty much anything you want. And I mean,
Yeah, it's just interesting that people are missing out on those points.
although Panzacs being a primarily Australian clan, it's probably not surprised that they may have some issues fielding their team at this time slot.
Yeah. And it looks like they're all fighting for the bull over here. Lots of tanks here down in the south. Panzac has a little more meat on that corner with the Moss and E100. So Relic's going to need to pour on a little bit of artillery here to even it up.
Should be interesting to see who pulls out this 54 battle. All right. Relic had a slight HP edge the entire time on that one.
Yeah, it was a little risky bringing that 50B around the bottom of the bowl there with those tanks there.
Looks like Panzacs is moving at least one IS-7, probably both IS-7s in the north. They're only opposed by 154 and then both of those tank destroyers, which are pretty reliably going to stop anything that tries to come up the middle. And as long as they have decent shots, we'll do some serious damage to anything coming up the northern flank before it actually arrives at the artillery.
Yeah, and it looks like they have pretty good positioning down there too to cover it. It looks like there's a third tank up there too. I'll bet it's one of the T110s. Well, had another tier 10 tank up there. It looks like one of the M43s finished that one up.
I know I've seen at least one T110 down here at the corner with their mouse and E100.
Yeah, I'm wondering what Panzac's move is at this point. They've lost the bull, but they still have a lot of tanks dedicated there. I wonder if they're just waiting to see if they can get a lot of movement on the north side with the IS-7 and T110 that's up there. Maybe put the pressure on so they can round that corner.
I wouldn't be surprised if they'd taken somewhat of a beating from artillery at this point. With both of those tier 9 tank destroyers in their way, it might not be a survivable endeavor to cross that gap.
Yeah. Although it doesn't. Oh, no, they do have sight all the way up on the A line. I'm a little surprised they're actually able to spot all the way up there along that zone line up there.
That would have to be the 704, but he is out of position. So I'm guessing that T-30 has binocs at the least.
Yeah. And right now, Panzacs needs to do something here in the south because the north side is just not putting the pressure they need. But they're being a good distraction up there, which they need to try to take advantage of when they have their 3 tanks down here.
Panzac's in some serious trouble now with one of their Tier 8 artillery lit.
Oh, great move. Changing that T-110 straight up the swamp to take out their artillery.
Panzac's definitely rushing the north now.
Yeah, it might be a little too late at this point with what's going down. I'm not sure they'll be able to react to that T-110 in their backfield.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were actually able to spot that T-30 in return, especially when he fired, and that they were just kind of hoping that their artillery would help pound it out. At which point, Relic decided to send their T1 up or T110 up the middle specifically to counter that. If we had more replays, it would be a lot easier to say for sure.
Yeah. Well, it seems like a pretty fair bet trying to get hint. That seems like a pretty fair bet getting multiple angles on those TDs. Hint laws. So we got both already out now. And Relic has a very solid position on all parts of the map.
It was a solid double contact with that one shot from their M40.
Here we go, round in the corner.
With both of those 50Bs, this should be over really quickly.
Yeah, and the health pool on those last tanks there are really low. I wonder if a lot of that was splash from the artillery that we couldn't see.
They did take it once or twice. They took a couple shots from the T110 that we're actually watching here. But the real deal sealer was that final shot by the M4043 that did somewhere in between 500 and 600 damage to the both of them.
Yeah. And all we got left is the tank in the north.
Out their GGs.
Yeah, so it was a great fight. I think Panzac just needed a lot more movement with concentrated tanks there to really retake control of the bowl or get a stronger push in the north to get past those TDs, and maybe they could have gotten a little bit more. But either way, great fight. Congrats to Relic.